Okay, so now we're going to do insert. To describe what this does, I'm just going to show this. We're going to insert a new node with a particular value that we pass this at a particular index. Pretty self-explanatory. So if you want to code this, go ahead and pause this. Otherwise, we'll get into this. All right, we're going to start out with this linked list, and we're going to create this node. So there are a few possibilities for different places where we can put this, and we will handle these situations differently. Say we want to put this at the index of 0. So that's going to go right there. So we have seen this before. This is unshift when you add something to the beginning of a linked list. So we can just say if the index is 0, return this dot unshift and pass it the value that we had passed the insert method. So a couple things I want to point out here is when we're doing this, we're using the this keyword. And what we've seen when we call a method before is we would say something like myLinkedList.unshift and then pass it a value. But this has to apply to any linked list that we are going to use with the linked list class. We have to use the this keyword. The other thing is we are using return, which makes us stop running code. It's just going to return whatever unshift returns, which is going to be the entire linked list with that new node added. Another possibility is that we put this at the other end, and we've seen this before. So we can say if the index is equal to the length, return this dot push, and we just use the push method. Another possibility is that we try to insert this out here at an index that does not work on this end or on this end. So we can say if the index is less than 0 or if the index is greater than the length, we'll return false. So let's go ahead and look at our 3 if statements here and what we've done. Here is what we would do if we were putting this at the beginning of the linked list. This is for if we put it at the end, and this is if it's out of the possible range. Now let's look at putting this in somewhere in the middle of the list. Let's say we're going to put this in at the index of 2, just like that. How would we make that happen? So let's back this up and look at the steps to make that happen. So one of the things we're going to have to do is have a variable that's going to iterate through the list to where we're going to insert this. And we're going to bring this to the spot that is one spot before where we're going to insert this. So let's look at the code to create these 2 items. That's our new node there. And then temp, we're going to say that temp is this dot get of the index where we're going to insert this -1. So it's going to be to the previous spot. So let's look at this code. So now notice on our first 2 lines of code, we are calling other methods, and now we just use the get method. So this is our 3rd time using another method inside of this method. All right, so let's bring this back up. So the first thing that we want to do is we want that new node to point at that 23 node at the index of 2. So we can set that pointer on the new node equal to temp.next, just like that. And we'll do that with this line of code. New node.next equals temp.next. Then we want to have temp.next point to the new node like that. We'll do that with this code here. Temp.next equals new node. And that will insert that node into the linked list. So now let's look at this code with the rest of our code, just like this. The only things left to do are to increase the length by 1. And then what we'll do is we will return true because we used a return of false in the 3rd line of code up there in that if statement. So we'll look at this code in a moment in Chrome DevTools. But this is going to be the linked list that we create, a 0 and a 2. Then we're going to insert a node with the value of 1 at the index of 1. So it's going to be insert 1, 1. So now let's flip over to DevTools and have a look at this. Okay, so there is our insert method that we just created. And this is our linked list with 0 and 2. So let's zoom out here and run this. And this creates our linked list with values of 0 and 2. So let's clear this off. Then we'll run our insert method. So this is with an index of 1 and a value of 1. We'll run that. It returns true. And we'll clear this and look at my linked list. So now my linked list starts with 0 and then goes to the value of 1. And then you can see here that tail has a value of 2. And that is our method for insert.